Hi, my name is Richard Clark. I'm a lead animator at Ballisti Studios and we animate on games. Some of the projects that I've been involved in have been Dragon Age: The Veilguard, Anthem and Mass Effect. Let's have a look at some of your questions. What exercises or projects would you recommend for beginners to practice animation fundamentals? I would say locomotion cycles, walks, runs, jumping over something, and then maybe actions. So lifting up something heavy, swinging a bat, throwing a ball, that sort of thing. How can I make my portfolio or demo reel stand out in the animation industry? Making sure you're getting the fundamentals looking good. Weight, timing, posing. You know, in terms of weight, if you've got a slight slim character or a big, larger character, there should be some differentiation in the way that they move. Posing is very important to storytelling. Your emotions or your actions or your intentions need to be very clear on camera. So that's where posing comes in. And then timing. Timing is coupled quite nicely with spacing and in terms of getting a believable, realistic, appealing action coming across. So whether that's a locomotion or an acting piece, whether it's a quadruped, so these are a couple more examples that I would suggest in terms of variety on your demo reel. You know, you can apply any one of those thoughts to any piece that you're going to be animating. What do studios like Triggerfish look for in demo reels? Again, nailing the fundamentals is going to get you far no matter what studio you're looking at. For a place like Triggerfish, you might want to consider the content that they're creating and put something appropriate in your reel. So it could be a cute character or a quadruped. And then for a studio like Ballisti, you might want to consider fight scenes or, again, quadruped or any sort of creature animation. And then if there's a particular style, say animating on twos, that could also be something to consider. What are some tips for animating mouth movements accurately to match voice lines? Having clearly defined mouth shapes is important. So a handful of phonemes, you will probably want to create a handful of phonemes. So phonemes are not A, B, C. They would more be A, R, U, E, V. So with these basic shapes that you're using, you'll be able to use them for any dialogue. Another tip is animating the jaw. So what you want to do is you want to, as a rule of thumb, open the jaw 2 frames before you hear the sound. So what you're trying to do is you're creating the mouth shape before you hear the sound. So the mouth shape preempts the sound. What are some tips for creating smooth and dynamic camera moves in animation? Look for reference online. Films, games, TV commercials, there'll be loads of examples, loads of movements, loads of framing examples that will inspire you. What are common animation mistakes to avoid when animating for games versus film? So for film, you just need to make sure that your character or your shot looks good in shot, in camera. So like I am at the moment. It doesn't matter what's going on under the desk with my legs, because you cannot see it. But for games, you're animating in a 3-dimensional space, and you can move as you please in that 3-dimensional space. So your character needs to look good from all angles. What are best practices for handling feedback and meeting client or director expectations? Firstly, know and understand your brief. What is required? Listen to your feedback. If you're unsure of anything, ask the client or director for clarity. They'll invariably have an overview of the entire project, so they'll know the context to what you're animating. As somebody that gives feedback, I also need to consider the person, my tone, the person that I'm sending feedback to. Is it clear and is it constructive? How is motion capture used as a starting point in game animation, and what extra work is needed afterwards? Motion capture creates realistic, believable animation for you as a base. The initial work, there's always going to be a level of cleanup initially, and that might be smoothing out any sort of pops that you see appear in the animation or any strange or abnormal rotations that are happening. The extra work comes in when you want to clearly define an arc. So maybe the actor did a movement, but you want to really accentuate that and make sure that it's very clear. Maybe the character's got a weapon or a prop in their hand, and you really want to make sure that that's movement is coming across clearly. Other things that you could do would be to accentuate or exaggerate a move. So your character's jumping across a canyon. Maybe their hang time is going to be a lot longer than what the initial actor did on stage. Maybe you want to adjust the timing and spacing because maybe you want a bit of a quicker, snappier movement. Those would be the extra things that you could use or at least work on top of the base animation. How important is motion capture training for aspiring video game animators, and what tools should I be familiar with? Any training that you can get your hands on is valuable, and invariably any sort of motion capture data can be transferred onto any 3D characters that you can use in either Maya or Blender, for example. Learning and understanding the fundamentals of animation is probably more important because you'll be applying those principles when working with motion capture. And then learning motion capture or learning how to work with motion capture is something that will be learned on the job. How long does it take to become a 3D animator? And are there job opportunities in South Africa for 3D animation? There are various different avenues where you can study animation. There's quite a few online courses. These are broken up into modules. The modules are usually 3 months each. And I think in a typical online course, if you do all the modules, it might be a year and a half, depending. And then locally in Cape Town and Johannesburg, there are animation schools, and I think their courses are 3 years long. In terms of job opportunities, yes, there definitely are job opportunities in South Africa, in the film industry, in the TV commercials, and in the gaming sector.